That's fine. I was just
By
gonna.
the way, I plugged both.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. I got to figure out how to share this to Greg real quick.
2 and 3 limits.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Big Bend Fishing Report. I know it's been a while, and we've been pretty busy this week and forgot to post that we were going live tonight. But, you know, we have a lot.
Lots going on.
Yeah, we have quite a few people on already. So finally getting back in the groove of being outside the creeks.
Spring is here.
Spring has sprung.
Yes, it has, for sure.
Until the next cold front.
Well, and I mean, if you look, as we all fishermen are weathermen, of course, but I mean, I don't see anything in the foreseeable future. And
no, but it's coming.
Yeah, but I don't.
It won't be enough to.
It won't be enough to push them back in, because I even on the last couple of airboat trips I ran, there was a lot less fish in the creeks than what there was earlier in January and early February. I mean, they were. They got in cabin fever. They were ready to get out for sure. Yeah. And you could even see them on the outside. And there were some areas that I was able, when we had the south wind, that I was actually able to fish the airboat like my skiff, and catch those schools of redfish.
The water temperature was 73 is all I was going to say. That's what's pushed them on out of there. Now they're bugging out of the creeks.
And I also noticed last week, like I said, I've only been on the water once this week, but last week for sure, when I was running around on the outside going creek to creek, I fished out of the airboat and the skiff a little bit. Big sheets of pinfish, lots and lots of pinfish inside now.
Yeah,
and that right wherever I found a lot of pinfish, there were schools of redfish. I had probably 4 different areas that had at least 50 to 60 fish in their school, and there was always pinfish around them.
Yeah, today there was mullet everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I went, mullet so thick. I mean, you couldn't bring your lure in without hitting mullet.
Yeah,
I mean they were super thick. So spring is sprung.
Yeah, and I noticed one thing, and I don't know if it's I'm up in the Econfina River a lot more. And as I would come in that river, I would start seeing the little cut through there behind Pig Island, when it was mid-February, early February, was just loaded with mullet every time you go through there. I mean, you could have got them with a dip net. And it seemed like from about Valentine's Day on, every time I'd come out, those mullet were another 100 yards out. They were just moving out it seemed like each day they'd slide out. That water got a little warmer, and I don't know if it was just them ready to go, or that warm water just got them moving out there, until finally last week they were, like you said, they were on the outside pretty heavy.
Yeah, and the last week for me has been tough.
Mm-hmm.
The fish were just in transition. Sunday I struggled bad.
Me too. I had the same problem Kenny had.
We saw a ton of fish.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get them to eat.
Well, I caught like 8 or 9 fish on the airboat.
Yeah.
That tells you anything. That's that's fishing in a barrel.
That barometric pressure went super high. It was a bluebird sky with a white ring around it, and anytime I used to see that bass fishing, I knew we could go catch some crappie, but we weren't going to do anything. And this trout just didn't move. They just didn't move.
No, but it's ever since then, it's progressively gotten better each day, and today was just outstanding.
Yeah. So do you target the mullet, or were you targeting the mullet, or were you targeting structure?
So really, I was just more or less scouting today. Yeah. I mean, the people I had today, they wanted redfish, and mainly been targeting trout on my last few trips because that's what the people wanted. So it's okay. We're gonna. And they were bass fishermen. Yeah, they could handle a rod. They could work a lure. Whatever I
they could
needed them to
fish.
do, they could fish. So I said, all right, we're on a mission today. We're gonna bounce around, and I wasn't just targeting structure because first thing in the morning, we had negative tide this morning,
Right.
and all the reds that I was targeting, we were sight fishing in the grass. And there was still mullet everywhere.
Mhm.
And then as the water came up, we started moving around, went to some structure, and it didn't matter where we went, there was just mullet everywhere.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kick in the water up. So you had a kick in the water from that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
The water was mud,
Yeah.
stirred up.
I always seem
It
like
was still very clear, but it was.
yeah, it seems like spring and fall. I always if I don't see mullet around, I usually move until I find some. Because it seems like they use them just for that reason. Like you said, those mullet kick around, they kick up the shrimp, they kick up the pinfish,
Yeah.
and those reds can get right in there with them, and they can camouflage right in with them.
Yep.
So those bait fish and little things don't see them coming.
I tell you what we had trouble with. We had trouble catching redfish for the trout,
Really?
which has not been
No.
it has not been the problem here recently.
Yeah. No.
We would sit there looking at redfish, cast out the redfish, bam,
Trout.
21-inch trout.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Oh yeah, that's great. So I started out with what did I tell you?
Houdini. Yeah.
Houdini sea shad by Assassin, and then I switched to the Elite Shiner. The which one is it?
You said chicken on a chain.
No,
Oh,
I switched to that
Deal.
deal.
The deal.
The deal Elite Shiner.
And it's green with some black on it, and it has purple or lavender glitter on the other side.
And we caught them on that. And then I switched to chicken on a chain. And the reason I kept switching was try to find something that I could get the redfish with,
Mhm.
because the trout were just hammering everything we were throwing at them.
Yeah.
And put the chicken on the chain on there, and it was redfish.
So,
and then the other guy was throwing a 17 MR Miradine.
mhm.
He was catching the trout. The chicken on the chain was catching redfish in the same spot.
So we had something funny happen a couple weeks ago on one of those schools. I was fishing with the airboat. We had a south wind, and I blew in, put the poles down, and the guys were throwing the brown glass minnow. They were throwing up there, boom, 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 and I could see the fish.
The
Not
little
getting hit.
P&V by Assassin.
Yep, his little P&V just on a I was on a 1/4 ounce open jig head, and I could see the fish. They were getting bit. Dang! So I reached back and grabbed the rod, and it had the chicken on a chain on it. And I threw up there, and I mean it was one of those ones hit the water and came tight. I was like, all right. So I handed that rod off. Brought him in. They did whatever, got him released and everything, and they cast it again. I cast it again. Same thing, hooked right up. So, guess what I did after that? We put chicken on a chain on everything.
Chicken on the chain on the other rod.
Oh yeah.
Craig.
Yep,
So one thing I do want to say is,
Was it the glow or the chartreuse tail? Or did
it
you
was a
try-
chartreuse tail. I mean, once they got, and it worked. I mean, we wound up catching about 10 or 12 fish out of that school.
right?
Well, they make a chartreuse glow. Have you seen it? In the sea shed, Assassin.
Yeah, this
And I have substituted it for the chicken on a chain and done well.
this one was just a plain old fashioned chicken on a chain. Just the
Little P&V.
Yep, the little P&V. And something I do in the wintertime or when the water's cooler is that P&V is only 4 inches long anyway, or however long it is. But I cut it down so when you thread it on the jig, the whole lure is only about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're using about half.
yep, I cut about half of it off and thread it onto the lure, onto the jig head. And I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but it seems to in the wintertime. When it warms up, it doesn't matter. They like the bigger bait.
Right.
They'll eat it without any problem. It seems like they're eating smaller baits, but like I said, when we got in the schools, I'm sure today it probably wouldn't have mattered. You were going to catch something on whatever you threw up there.
Yeah.
one of those days.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing I want to talk about is, so often as guides, we'll tell the clients what we're catching them on. And
Mhm.
sometimes we have clients that are very persistent on what they want to use.
Yeah.
And so I think it was, 3 days ago, I told my clients, I said, look, we're not catching them on live bait. They're just not eating live bait. We're going to throw some plastics
Mhm.
and start out throwing Houdini. We were catching fish. It was a slower day. Like I said, it's been a grind up until today. Anyways, we put some nice fish in the boat. One of them wanted to switch out because she has issues with her
Mhm.
hands. So we switched out to a cork just so she could get a break. Put shrimp on for her. Nothing. Well, the next day I had kids on the boat, and they're like, "We just want to pin down, let the kids catch." We caught some fish, don't get me wrong, but it was
Like drum.
no. We caught redfish and trout, but not the numbers that we should have.
Right.
So today, I didn't get any bait. I already talked to the people the day before, and I said, "Look, we're catching them on artificial. We're going to use artificial. Oh, we're fine with that. Oh, bass fishermen."
Mhm.
And it was just
Yeah.
on fire. And the biggest thing is when you're in this transition phase, like we would have been for the last week, you're able to cover more water.
Oh, yeah. With artificials.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cover more water with the artificial, you're going to catch more fish.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find more fish.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be in front of more of them because you're casting longer, so you're covering the water even there. And you're not waiting on a bite. You're presenting the bait every time. I threw 5-inch today in the Houdini, and I tried to get them to hit the other colors, but the pinfish were balling behind it and just gangbanging it. And you shake it to the surface, and when it got about a foot deep, the pinfish were coming all the way up there to get it. And the trout just couldn't stand that and kind of taking it away from us. I wasn't on a lot of big fish, but my first fish was 21 inches, and that kept me interested, but I was late to get to that bite. I didn't find that water till 1:45, 2:45 or 1:45, 1:45, that's right. And at 2:30, I think I'd caught 15 or 20 trout, about 3. I missed 2 or 3 keepers, but catching fish from 21 inches all the way down to 6 inches. But they were just on, like Kenny said, just plain difference in a switch being on versus being off. And it was off earlier the week.
Yeah, it was.
Tell them about the couple that fished at their boat the day after Tuesday after fishing with you Monday, and he went and got the assassin.
Yeah.
Tell them that.
Yeah. So that day, the ones I was talking about, we were throwing the Houdini sea shad and caught fish. And they went the next day. They were going on their own boat the next day. And so anyways, when we were out there, I pulled up near where they were. They weren't right there where I was. They were. And he calls me. He said, "Hey, if I need to move," I said, "No, you're good." So you catching them? He said, "Yeah, I went up to Wilson's Bait and Tackle and picked up some of those Houdini sea shads, and his wife picked up a pack of the red and gold." And he said, "We're catching them on the Houdini. We're catching them on both. Catching the redfish. They're catching redfish on the red and gold one,
Mm-hmm.
and Houdini. They were, he was catching trout and redfish. And but it goes to show, it does make a difference.
Oh yeah,
And today, like I said, the only reason I put that chicken on chain on is trying to find something that I could get to them for whatever reason the trout wouldn't be as quick to
as
eat.
quick. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was the same with us in some of the creeks and everything. But I've always noticed, like when what we're coming into, we're coming into the Mirrodine, the twitch bait time of year and everything, top water and all that. It always seems like there's times that just a bright color just, I don't know if it just catches their eye, if they're just, they react to it better or what it is. But I always like early in the spring and late in the fall. I always like really bright colors. Like, I call it the clown, the electric chicken type colors on the mirror lures and that kind of stuff. And even the chrome finishes that really flash hard seem like they generate more strikes, than they do in the meat of the spring and the meat of the fall when the bite's really on. Then you go to the more natural, realistic colors, and they seem like they do good. They always, that time of year, they're always going to eat something that's moving in front of them if you get it in front of them. But it seems like when you're working for a bite, sometimes early in the year, the brighter colors or the flashy colors will get you another bite or two,
Right.
just out of reaction because the fish see it. I think whether it's a Miradine, whether it's a soft plastic, and even the spoons, but I don't use very many spoons this time of year. But you said you caught one on them today,
Oh yeah.
or some on
This is
them
when I
today.
start using them.
Yeah, it's when I start seeing them around the oyster and the rock and everything.
70 degrees about when I.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say this morning when we first went out, the water was 68, and we saw a lot more fish than we could get to eat. We were putting it right on their nose.
Yeah.
And they just
They hadn't warmed up yet.
no. Well, we catch some.
The sun hadn't been out like it was all day today since what? I mean, Monday it was overcast, wasn't it? Off and on.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can barely remember.
but I
yesterday.
think
Today.
I think a lot of it too. I mean, we're the pressure's coming down a little bit because down not so much here, but Central Florida and Gainesville. I mean, they caught some big afternoon thunderstorms.
Yeah.
So I mean, that while we're not right there, the pressure from all that area, we don't have that screaming high pressure that we had last week and into the week before. Like Pat was saying, you see those beautiful blue skies. It's it's going to be a tough day.
Yeah, and I'm going to share some of the fish we caught today.
Well, we, as far as you're talking about color, what I found in March is when you hit a color, and years ago, a friend of mine from Atlanta came down, Kevin Badgett, and he loves Zoom worms, Zoom flukes. He threw Zoom flukes. He threw baby bass and the golden brim,
Mm-hmm.
and he liked pearl. And I brought a bag. His son was about 14, 15 years old, that neighborhood. And I jumped on the boat with them, and I had a bag of 100 goldfish, which is a reddish gold glitter and gold, you know what I'm
Gold
saying?
belly.
Bronze glitter and gold glitter together by Assassin. Well, his son's name, I believe, is Cole, and Cole and I used up 100. I don't know how many fish we caught, but we used 100 goldfish, and we wouldn't let Kevin have any because he badmouthed me about using Assassin versus. And he
Zoom.
caught fish, but we caught a fish. We caught 2 and 3 fish. If you lost one, you just let it settle, and the next one.
Next
got it.
one grabbed.
You could. It was just ridiculous, and we were out in the open Gulf in 3 to 4 foot of water, and it was just sick every
I don't
cast.
know what I just did it.
But that today, you get that one color, and it's magic.
Yeah.
It's just what the pinfish can't stand, and they come out of the grass, and when they do, the trout says, "What are we doing in here?" And they come out to get those pinfish,
Well, I'll show you. This is
and they can't.
this is from 2 days ago. You see what that is?
No, but you can tell me. I believe
That is the Houdini on
Sea
a
shad?
on a sea shad on an 1/8 ounce jig head that trout smell.
not
and
not
then-
using the swim bait, just the jig head.
Just jig head on that one. Today we were using the swim bait hooks. Here's some fish from today.
That's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's nice. That's a nice trout.
Oh,
Oh.
sir. It's a
Um,
good day.
Is that father and son or buddy, just buddy?
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
And I think a mistake a lot of people make this time of year too, whether they're fishing live bait or artificial, is they'll get on, and you were talking about, you've said it twice now, you'll work that bait and the pinfish will just mob it. And people feel that 3-4 times, they'll try jerking it away from those pinfish. And even if you're fishing for redfish up on a point using shrimp or using, gulps or something like that, you'll feel those pinfish pecking at it and they'll pull it away from it.
Yep.
That's the worst thing you can do, because those pinfish are doing nothing but attracting those big predator fish.
Yep.
So as soon as you feel, I can remember 1,000 times, it's still to this day when I still feel it, but we used to tournament fish, we'd throw Gulf up there and you'd sit there, and if we didn't feel pinfish, we'd leave. We'd go move. As long as we felt pinfish pecking at it, it was just a matter of time before the redfish came along and picked it up. So I think people
you knew there was no active feed going on.
Right.
Pinfish weren't moving.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people get frustrated with the pinfish grabbing and tearing their baits up. But like I said, those redfish and trout come in there, and even the flounder do it. They'll come in there to see what those pinfish are doing. They feel that vibration. They know there's something going on, and they come to check it out. And they see what they're eating, and they move in. And a lot of times you'll just feel those little pinfish going, and they'll just stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be a second or two later, and you'll feel that boom. That redfish comes by, those pinfish leave, and he eats what they were eating, which is your lure, hopefully. But
This time of year, I've tried to get clients that were not as good a fishermen as yours, and they would know and feel the difference in that tap and that pinfish.
Mhm.
And I would use 2 colors in the unweighted, lime truce and that bubblegum pink. You know why?
Mhm.
So when I saw it going by the boat, I could say, hey, you got a fish, reel. So I could spot their trout when they didn't know they had a fish.
Carrying that bait.
And and I'd use those colors just for that reason. I wouldn't start with it, but when I realized they weren't going to know when they had a fish.
You see that float going that way? That's yours.
Yeah, you see that?
Start reeling.
See that banana? I call them bananas and bubble gum. I said, there goes your bubble gum. Where? I said, I can't feel anything. I said, that's because he's
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 swimming
out
past
running
you
you
already.
back to the boat. He's out running you back to the boat.
Yeah, that pink bubble gum used to be that was a
show you
steak.
something else you can catch on a little P&V. As soon as it loads.
I'll be
Oh,
down.
yeah. It ain't easy
I
to
bet
do.
he thought he had the gorilla when that hit. Did he know it was a sheep's head when it hit?
No.
Probably thought it
Oh,
was
man.
red.
Man, that's a world record for a couple of minutes there, a couple of seconds.
Yeah. So I see Joel's watching. Joel, get back to me when you do that.
Uh-huh.
People talk about those sheep's head and we used to catch them on the artificial on the Sting Hatchet Reef, and I always thought, it's fun, but when they're up in shallow water,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh,
that
they-
6-7 pound sheep's head in shallow water is just he's on
It's another
fire.
animal.
Yes, and compared to fishing them out there in 20 feet of water or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in inshore, I've caught them on like the little P&V. I've caught them on spoons.
I've caught them on spoons.
I've caught quite a few on spoons,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
We saw quite a few out there today on the flats.
Mhm.
So I'm hearing reports that there's some starting to show up offshore,
Yeah.
but there's still a lot.
Yeah, I saw, like I said, I went out last night for a little bit. Me and my father-in-law just riding around, and we went out of Fen Holloway and ran towards Rock Island down that way, and saw actually quite a few sheephead. Yeah, just running along the outside edges and stuff.
They're
And,
on the move.
mhm. Yeah, I was surprised how many we seen. So in the last few times out, actually we started catching flounder again. The
Yeah,
last 3 or 4
Yeah,
times
I've-
out.
I should have some.
Yeah, well, that one day you sent me a picture. You said you'd caught 2 of them. I think we had caught 2 that same day already. It was one, but about 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we caught nice ones.
Yeah, so they're starting to. Again, it seems like a weird time for them to be. I guess they'd be moving back in because they spawn pretty much in January and February, don't they? The flounder.
I'm not telling.
I know that's when they seem to disappear. the
No,
most.
that, you actually got the months wrong. but-
Do I? Okay.
Yes, but I'm not gonna tell you which month.
I'll tell you afterwards. If he
Oh, I'm not worried. I'm not
Oh,
going out
I
after
will
them.
too. I'm just not gonna do it on the air.
Yeah, I'm not going out after them.
I'm not
worried
gonna,
about
I'm
it.
not gonna tell it on the air. Let them find out for themselves.
Yeah, that was the picture you sent me.
He's pretty.
Yeah, pretty one.
He's all lit up.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can ask the state of Florida when the spawn is. They know.
They'll tell you anyway.
No, you're missing the point of the comment.
You know,
When can you not go?
Exactly.
I don't know. Remember?
You don't remember. He doesn't know the season. He doesn't-
Well,
And, that, and
we
that's the
don't
best
get
time
them
to catch them.
because I don't ever keep them hardly,
well, you don't.
unless the
keep-
shrimper gives them to me.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
The first time I ever fished with Billy Phillip, my buddy who passed a couple of years ago, we caught 73 in less than 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was
That's
the
busy.
first week of December.
Yeah, that's busy.
That's not the most I've ever caught though. Or been on the boat when we're caught. I had two clients when Marker 20 was still out there. Do you remember the markers?
yeah.
I caught two, and then all I did is bait and take flounder off, and they caught 71.
Damn.
The two of them, just as fast as you could put it down there.
We used to catch them like that down El Pasco at the mouth of like Gulf Harbors and places like that. We used to catch them. We didn't catch that many, but you could catch 15 or 20 down there without any problem. Just Carolina rig and a mud minnow.
Yep.
I mean, they would just destroy it.
We didn't get Pat down there for some time.
Not anymore.
They
Well, not for those, but
Yeah.
that nighttime dock fishing
Yeah.
is fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah. But now nighttime down there, you still need to take a number to get in.
That's true. That's true.
There's a lot
You know,
of
one
people-
of my favorite spots to fish was, and we would always go from land. Was right there at the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Oh, Gulf Harbors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, just free line of shrimp along those mangroves, and
Mm-hmm.
just hold on. You're gonna have a snooker red in
Oh yeah.
no time.
Yep. Yeah. You catch some big mangrove snapper right there.
Oh yeah, big mangrove.
what do you
Well,
call
for inshore.
Yeah, for inshore. Yeah. That's something I'm starting to see a lot of pictures of up here now. Guys starting to catch mangroves and some good ones.
Yeah.
Good mangroves and all the hogfish.
Yep.
Well, they've been slaughtering the red. They've been slaughtering the hogfish in Steam Hatching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But I talked to a couple of boys, and they said they're out there in 50, 60 feet of water.
It's hard to believe that 10 years ago nobody could even get them to bite on a hook and line.
They weren't trying.
No.
They weren't fishing that time of year, and
You also have to back away from the structure.
Yeah, it took them a while to learn, but once they did, good night. It's
Yeah.
crazy how many.
If
you
you're
could
right on
catch.
top of the structure, there's too much other stuff going to beat them to it.
Mhm.
the grunt, just the pink mouth grunt.
Yep.
They call it pink mouth. The white grunt,
Yep.
Key West grunt, same fish.
The Key West snapper,
Yeah.
Florida snapper.
Florida snapper.
Florida snapper, that's the lies.
That's what them head boats want.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
Hey, they're good eating though.
Not really.
No, I like them.
I hate cleaning them. It's like cleaning sheephead, but I mean, they're easier to clean than sheephead, but they're good eating.
When I was in school, I had a roommate that was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years older than I am. We were both living in duplexes next to each other, hating the people we were sharing with that we pulled a card on. And I said, let's go. I said, and I didn't even know Larry that well. But I said, let's go get an apartment, get away from these goddamn people. Pardon my French. Anyway, long story short, we got an apartment, and he went out and bought a boat. He saw a boat in the paper and went and bought it, and it was a 19 or 20 foot walk-through windshield. inboard, outboard, Merc Cruiser 115 with a walk-through windshield. And the name, I heard some noise and I came out of the apartment and he had a screwdriver and a hammer and he was chipping the name off the back of the boat.
Oh my God.
And hey, they had put it in there with these little stick-on things like your address on the house. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, I bought a boat. I said, "Well, I see that." And it was aquamarine green.
Nice.
Okay. Ugly as hell. Hey, and the name was TIS apostrophe L do. This will do. And I said, "Give me the screwdriver." I'm helping him get the name
I
off.
want to help you get that name.
But we
out.
took that boat offshore and he said, "We got to stop at the 7-Eleven and get our bait." And I looked at him and I said, "What are we going to buy at the 7-Eleven?" He said, "Don't worry about it." He bought 5 pieces of super bubble gum. And when we got out there, he gave me one. He said, "Chew that till it's good and put it on the hook." And then he stuck it in the cooler and it got hard and dropped that down there and we caught one grunt. And then we cut him, and that's all we bought for bait was bubble gum because the Creek Mouth Great would hit that bubble gum. They couldn't get it off the hook. And then we had fish to cut up, and we caught a cooler full. And I'm talking about 178 quart cooler. Well, Larry had a job, and I was in school, and I'm cleaning fish, and we lived next to an orange grove, and I cleaned 2 look, and I'd take one and I'd throw it out in that big pasture. I'd clean 2 and then I'd throw one. And it still took me 3 hours to clean all those guys. Yeah. Big grunt. And I hated cleaning grunts the rest of my life.
That would do it.
So
By hand too now. I didn't have no electricity back then. That was by hand.
Billy Henderson, Captain Billy Henderson said, "When are you going to have me on, Kenny?" So we need to get him on.
Yep.
And
Billy was just with a old client of mine down in Tampa giving away his boat at the Salt Strong banquet. Chris sent me a picture. He goes, "You know this guy?" I said, "I do." But I don't think Chris won the boat. He won a fishing rod, but he didn't win the boat. So, but looks like Billy was doing well.
yeah, we need to make that happen
Yeah.
very, very soon.
You should come up and go fishing on the day we do it.
He will come up and go fishing.
I'm sure.
So Billy, let me know when you're free to come up, and we'll make it happen.
And he kind of semi-retired now.
Billy's always
He's
retired.
always been
I mean, retired.
Semi-retired.
he has some good people
Mm-hmm.
on his team. Yeah.
He does. It's good when you can.
He's selling some boats because there's a few of them out of Keaton now.
There is.
There's about 2 or 3 of them other than Kenny's.
Yeah.
That micro draft is coming on.
It's a great boat, great platform. You know, you fished on it.
Oh yeah, I love the room.
It's like today. I mean,
It's like being on an aircraft carrier.
yeah. Like today, you know, we hooked on some pretty good reds, and both people on the boat had to run all the way around the boat a couple of times, and they said, "Man, this is nice being able to walk all the way around and not have to step up and down."
Yep.
You know,
That's the nicest part, being able. Even like with the airboat I was using this year and your airboat, when I'd get on yours, you know, just a complete deck over, even, you know, whether it's an airboat or whether it's a skiff, that stepping up and down just wears you out all day long. You know,
It
even,
does.
and you see a lot of the new boats that are being built, you know, when I was back in there, the one thing we would always say is, you know, in the center consoles or in the bay boats, you know, get rid of that giant front step to get on that deck up there, you know, and a lot of them did.
I
They
call
dropped
it
it
the
down.
leg breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
Parker's a single level floor all the way
Yeah.
around. And that's what I love about my Parker is the stability and the fact that it's the same level.
Yes.
You don't have ankle breakers and catchers. You know, the old bass boats have it. You know, you're standing on that deck and you've got that well so that the motor doesn't crack the.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you can turn an ankle and break an ankle right there real quick.
Yeah.
And that's what the first thing I look at on a boat when I see a saltwater boat is what they did back there.
Yeah. I'm sure Kenny, when you bought that microdraft, your clients, everybody, it's a weird sensation not having an edge
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
boat. It really
So-
is.
I shared this before years ago. Captain Evan Snow and I, we went snook fishing, and he cast out there and he was working topwater plug. And snook kept hitting it, popping up out of the water. I cast behind him, and I'm working, and he's watching me. And just as I hook up, he's watching me and walking backwards, and he walked backwards right off the side of my boat. And I still have the picture. He comes out of the water. He's got his rod in one hand, his phone in the other.
Yep. Yeah, it's I don't know, those boats are crazy popular now. There's 1,000 different boat models that, have no edges anymore. So everybody's kind of used to it. But I remember the first, it was probably my Shallow Sport was the first boat I had that was just a flat deck that was, you just walk right off.
I call that an orange boat.
An orange boat.
You can roll an orange on one
Yep.
side and roll it right into the water.
Yep. And I just like Evan did. I've had a couple clients literally. I have one fighting a redfish, walking forward, and
Just keep going.
just stepped right off the front of the boat, and it's it's funny because you're watching them and you know they're going to stop, and they just take that one step before you can say anything. Most of the time you're in a couple feet of water, so it's not a big deal, but it is kind of funny. But
So when I first started guiding, I had a Carolina skiff. Then I bought a Sportsman bay boat. Let me tell you, I love the Sportsman. I love the ride, but I hated the big console in there. I hated,
that
stepping
front
up and down. It was a smooth riding boat. I could get shallow nowhere near like I can
No.
in the microdraft. And in our area with the amount of rocks
Mhm.
and the way that I fish, super shallow. I mean, today I was scraping stuff all over the place. And I get people all the time, just aluminum boat now. Just fix it later.
Yeah.
You got to get where the fish are.
We can sand it.
But I did love my Carolina skiff. My wife hated it. Especially we had one that it would soak you mad.
Everybody loves the
Feet
Carolina
stay wet.
skiff too. Yeah, I was gonna
Feet stay
say
wet all the time.
your whole body stayed wet.
Oh, whole body, yeah.
So
If there was a ripple, you were wet.
So when we bought the Sportsman, I really wanted a microdraft.
Yeah.
But she was fed up with the Carolina skiff. So she's like, I want a bay boat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I got to think about, for most of the
More
year,
comfortable.
it would be nice,
Mm-hmm.
not getting beat up all the time. And then we got it, and I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. You can't get around and work, do your job.
You gotta change how you fish.
Yeah. Well, not just that. You got to change how you interact with your clients.
Oh yeah.
You can't. That console's in the way, and
Yep.
just the way everything is. And
100%.
I
so
bought my Parker and I made them put the small console from another model in there. I wouldn't let them put the one that was made for that one because you just walking around it, you had to lean.
yeah,
Yeah.
You had to
lean
kick
out
over. And I said, look, I don't need this right now. It was before I put the gas tank in there, auxiliary to take up for the problem with the old one. I could put 5 life jackets, a cushion, 200 feet of rope, an anchor, and another 2 bins of tackle, all in the small console. Why in the
Right.
world would I need the mediums? I used to say, this is ridiculous. But yeah, most boats, like I said, what I like about mine, my gunnels are flat if you wanted to jump up on there.
Right.
And if you wanted to get on the front, it's flat and there's nothing, there's no round edges to slip off.
Oh, I love a Parker.
But I like my people like the fact that I call them, they get white knuckle when you hit 25 miles an hour. They're grabbing the rail to hold on. But anyway, yeah, I enjoy it. I wish I could go shallower, obviously, but I don't want to do the trolling motor thing now. I got enough trolling motors back in my bass fishing days.
Well, I got so frustrated with the Sportsman, and Brandy did too, because she was
What
fishing
length was
a
it?
lot then.
What length was it?
21.
Thanks. So.
That's pretty good size.
But so I said, hey, let's go snook fishing. And I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Billy. I'm like, Billy, I need to get Brandy on snook. And I told him, trying to get her to look at your boat. And Billy's like, all right, be here this date, this time. We're going to catch them. And we did. We whacked them. I mean, it was Billy's on point with that nighttime snook fishing.
Oh yeah.
And so I think we're coming back in. She said, I really like this boat. Or as we were heading out, I think.
Yeah.
We were heading out. She's like, I really like this boat. Well, we went with them twice. We red fished one day during the day. And that's when she said that. Then the next or that night, I think it was, we snook fished. She said, I really like this boat. I didn't say anything else. The next day, the Sportsman was up for sale.
Yeah.
I told Billy, I said, put me in line.
Build me a boat. Yeah. No,
But they do ride a lot better than a Carolina.
Oh
Skiff.
God, yeah. I mean, it's a completely different boat. I mean, the micrograph doesn't beat you up in a chop.
Right.
I mean, you're going to feel it because it's a skiff. I mean, I feel it, in my shoulder. I feel it in all of them. Every boat I've ever had that's a skiff, you feel chop, but it's how it handles that chop. It doesn't throw the water out and up so it can blow right on you like a skiff does.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with skiff. I mean, we all have had them.
Oh, yeah.
Almost everybody I know has had a Carolina skiff at one point, and they tell you the reason they got rid of them. They beat you up and you were soaking wet.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any place you couldn't go with it.
No.
It's kind of like the SUV of fishing.
But so Pat, you're back fishing again, right?
Yep. Yeah, I fished, like I said, that hell we had Sunday. But today I went out there and it's going to be fun from here out because you can play with anything you want. If you want to throw top water, you want to throw a lip bait like the Cordell Red Fins and the Renegades I like so much, the old Renegades and
That's the
Rattling
that one you
Rogues,
made.
Bomber Long A's, the 19A, 21A, 19. A lot of fun. And
I haven't fished a Bomber Long A in a long time.
well,
I used to fish the Chartreuse Bomber Long.
That and the black and
Yep.
gold or black and gold one.
Yep.
I used to troll the
black
rivers.
and gold. They have one called Tiger. It's got stripes on it.
Yep.
And it's gold, and I probably caught more big trout on that one, as well as the gold. But the finish will stay on that gold versus what a red fin. The finish won't stay on it. I know you hate red fins. I hate them too. But there are times when they're the cat's,
Oh yeah, you're gonna
the
catch
cat's
fish with them.
butt. They're the cat's butt sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is it's slowing down. You got right now, if you're gonna throw that, you're gonna really have to slow it down, and you're better off with a bait that suspends than a true floater. The floater's a little fast for them coming back up, and they aren't gonna run that down quite yet. When you start seeing you can throw the unweighted plastic. When you start seeing them hitting it on the surface, when you shake it to the surface, then you can flip over. My point is, why would you want to throw a treble hook there when you can throw a single hook? You can release fish without killing them, and you can catch three while your partner's trying to get one out of the net, with three treble hooks or two treble hooks.
Now, I will say this today. He was catching a lot of fish on the 17 MR in the 808 color.
Mm-hmm.
I put the 27 MR on, not a single fish.
Yeah.
They weren't ready to
No.
handle that much.
It won't be long.
Well, I know all
They
the
will.
pinfish I've seen, and you'll snag them when you're fishing, are all about that big.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every one of them.
So it does make a difference right now. Now, 2 weeks from now, probably not.
Yeah.
Well, if you throw the Catch Junior, that's the bait for right now. It's smaller, it's not about that in diameter and about that long, and they'll hit it now and knock it out of the water when they won't touch the Catch and they won't touch the 27 MR.
Now, I'm stubborn with topwater.
Did you throw it?
I always start throwing it too early in the year, and I don't want to put it up.
I was going to ask you threw it today.
No. Yes, we threw it today, and not a fish.
Yeah.
Not a blow up, not a boil, nothing.
Skitterwall.
I'm surprised. The
but it
trout
won't be
didn't,
long.
Yeah, I'm surprised the trout didn't pop out.
He's talking about a Skitterwall.
Oh yeah.
And I'll probably throw it tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. Whether they hit it or not, I'm going to throw it.
Oh yeah. Especially if it's calm and light winds. That's like watching them work.
It can be rough. I'm going to throw it.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm just stubborn. I love a topwater bite.
Well, if we hold 70 degrees overnight for a week, they'll hit it.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Another
Mhm.
couple weeks, it's going to be
Yeah,
on fire.
it'll be on.
May not take that long.
May not. May not.
Like I said, I saw 74 today, 73 mostly, but
Yeah. We
one
don't,
point I saw 74.
That was
That
about
made
when
a
I pulled
difference.
up to you.
yeah, we
That
don't have
made a
any cool
difference.
mornings coming till probably like the 12th or 13th. We'll get back into the 50s in the morning. That's
Don't we
Yeah.
change to daylight savings this weekend?
yeah.
So Real Coast Adventure says hello from Newport Richey, Florida. Fishing has been great lately. Big schools of redfish are stacked up, nothing less than about 23 inches. The trout schools have been solid as well. Bait is starting to come back, which is always a good sign. Overall, it's been a great week on the water.
Well, bait's not coming back down there. Bait's been down there for it never left. Bait, a lot of people don't find the bait until it gets at the mouth of the rivers
Right.
or outside of that bait. Especially in the like I say, I don't even have to be down there. And I guarantee you, there was bait in Miller's Bayou. There was bait right out the bend in front of Corman's and back in the marina at Hudson. 3 weeks ago.
My old stomping grounds, old
Mhm.
fishing grounds.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, it's the problem is everybody used to it used to be a secret, and it was nice because there was only a couple of us that knew where it was, and
Right.
we'd go in there and get it. And you could always get the trout to eat it early, but until, like you said, just like up here, until the water gets high 60s, low 70s, the reds wouldn't really eat it, and the snook definitely wouldn't eat it. But as soon as that water popped 70, but it was game on. And like I said, even the bait, when it would show up down there, just like it does up here, when the bait shows up in good numbers and floods everywhere, the fish are eating it. When it's just in specific little pockets, little hidey holes,
So
not all
for about the
fish are
last
eating
3 years, maybe 4, well, it's about the last 3, it would get like this.
it. Mhm.
Bait would start coming in. We'd get a late cold front, and it would just
Gone.
screw everything up for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
So if these
Yeah, I'm telling
cold
you,
front, we got cold
I can
fronts
think
coming.
back 10 years in a row that it did that.
Yeah, we have cold fronts coming.
All right.
We know that.
Yeah.
But golly, I hope the bait will stick around and we'll have a banner.
But you know what and like I said, I haven't been here that long, so I'm more stubborn on it. It would happen down there. Like I said, that bait would flood in. It didn't bother me then because everybody would be fine, and of course you'd have somebody sitting on every point, catching fish, and then all of a sudden the cold front would come in, the bait was gone, and they couldn't find the bait. But when it happens up here, the fish react to it, but they don't leave. They just kind of these fish up here where they might have been grouped up all over you come up on an oyster bar and just see fish all along it, or on a rock bed, and there'd be fish just all over the place. They kind of just push back into the mouths of the creek. Any kind of deep hole with some structure in it where there's a little bit of warmth, it seemed like they'd hold up.
The problem is if the bait doesn't come back and congregate like that, then they
The fish
scatter,
yes.
and it gets tough.
Yeah.
Then we're grinding like we have been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but even like I said, I've got the disadvantage of not having the history of when they're scattered and tough to catch is still better than what it did when it scattered them down there.
Yeah, I agree. But
Because everything was so big.
But where it really affects it, and I think you'll agree, Pat, is not in the spring. When you really see the impact is when it hits June, July, and August.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just don't have the bait we used to have. The bait's not in the Gulf, and it doesn't come in. But we say come in, it congregates and then they eat it.
Yeah.
The fish that are there eat it. I don't think that they leave. I think they're just eating. And then we don't have enough bait to hold fish together in the summer like we used to.
So answer me this.
And
Go ahead.
And what they do is they move out and eat shrimp. And they're not feeding on all the bait fish imitations we're throwing, from the flukes through to the hard baits to the skitterwalks. If you don't see the activity, those baits are not going to be effective once the water's 80 degrees. And regardless of the floating grass. But with no floating grass at all, we just don't have a spring to summer season of 4 to 6 weeks of fun that we used to have. We don't have it because that bait just isn't there.
Right.
And part of that is the water temperature going up too high, too fast. That white bait doesn't want to be in 85-degree water.
Mm-hmm.
You know that from
Mhm.
South Florida. And they move back to the beaches y'all have, which
Yep.
water's cooler on the beaches than it is on the flats.
And it's more
We don't
oxygenated.
have that option, but that water stays aerated and cooler.
Mhm.
And that's why you can have snook on the beach when you don't have them in the mangroves once it gets hot.
Right. Well, because they're spawning too, but yeah,
Well, but
there's
I mean-
plenty of food out there for them,
Right.
and they're going to follow.
And
it.
they spawn where they have the food.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got so many damn hard baits. It's shameful. I mean, I really do. And I don't use them anymore. You don't have a 2 to 3 week period that you can catch fish every cast with them like you used to.
So answer me a question. Did, say, 10 years ago, was there a lot of jacks up here?
No,
There was never a lot of jacks.
we never have had a lot of jacks.
Yeah.
And
I catch a lot of jacks. I can't say there's not.
But you know what I mean,
not
like-
a lot.
like
Not
what we see
not
down
like-
there.
Like in
No,
the
not
90s.
like in
In
Big
the
broken
90s?
schools.
In the 90s,
Mhm.
my record on the boat's 32 pounds.
Okay.
That fish was caught in 8 feet of water.
And what I'm getting at is if there's jacks around, and you were talking about, how the fish eat all the
The
bait.
jack month is September, right? The last of September, isn't that right? Before it really gets cold. And it's
No,
still,
I mean, I'll catch them all summer. I'll catch them.
I mean,
I'll start
I've
catching
seen-
them in about 2 more weeks.
I've seen them up here. I've seen some schools. Every once in a while you'll see schools
I'm
working up
talking
and down.
about a half acre.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's what
That's
I'm
what we
saying.
used to have.
Yeah.
And Oktoberfest is a term I use to describe the schooling fish in October. It doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
Birds, diving, and jacks, layfish, jacks, mackerel,
Bluefish.
bluefish, all would be in them, and then all you do is wait and let them move off, and then bang, 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 catch trout and reds that we're doing cleanup.
Clean it up.
And I used to have a blast doing it. As a matter of fact, I had about 200 clear circles. You know what a McDonald's rig is.
Oh yeah.
We put the spoon. I put the triple all Barracuda spoons and the metal spoons by. I can't say it, but anyway, you put that little tiny spoon behind it. You catch
Yeah.
everything that swims, freshwater,
I can't
And
even
salt.
either.
marine metal products.
Yeah,
That's who made it.
they were. We used to call them double O's.
Yeah, the double all. That
Mhm.
Clark.
Clark, that was
Well,
it.
I'm on Clark's team. I was on Clark's team. I got
I
so
like
many
Clark
of
for
those.
Spanish mackerel.
Mhm.
But the Clarks behind that bubble rig will outfish anything else you throw.
Yeah.
If you got a client that can turn the handle that fast.
Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't heard the McDonald thing in a while. He says buy those extra long shank hooks and put a McDonald's straw on it.
So Greg, Real Coast Adventure says, Greg, you're correct. It's just getting easier. Actually, the bait has been a little too big lately. The snook candy, as we call it, hasn't been getting much attention. They've been hitting on the smaller bait instead.
Well, the early bait's always big because it lives in those canals all winter and grows up.
Yeah.
That's how you can always tell when the migrating bait gets there as you start catching some of the small bait.
Yeah.
But those big baits, the river, the marine, all that stuff, back in the back of Gulf Harbors, there was always those big horse minnows.
And here, when you start seeing the ballyhoo and the glass minnow show up,
Yeah.
it's on.
But it's funny too, because in the spring down there, I would target, there was a few other guys that would do it, but we would target the big trout. And if you had a 2 or 3 inch bait, you wouldn't catch trout. You put that 5-inch bait on there, every bait you had, and they'd eat it. You'd have to let them have it a little bit, but they would not hit those little baits. They wanted those big old horse minnows. And it's the same up here. I mean, your big trout want a big bait. You put a big pinfish on, he's going to eat it. over a little one.
I'm trying not to put pinfish on.
Yeah, no, I am too. But I'm just saying, if you know,
He
use
doesn't know.
use a bit, like you were
What
saying
he-
with the
what he doesn't
27.
know about pinfish is full of bull.
He knows I can use pinfish,
I know.
but I don't like to.
I know, but you throw that big.
Kenny is not going to catch them. So if they don't go in his trap, they don't go in his boat.
Or snag him on a jig.
No, he doesn't even know it. He wouldn't know a sabiki if you made him eat one.
Oh, I've used them.
But you don't fish for a pinfish like I do. I've caught somewhere in the neighborhood of 400,000.
I don't care if I put another live bait in my boat, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
I know.
I'm with you.
I know you don't, but like I said, when you have made a career out of it and people love doing it with you, then
If you're good at it,
It's
you
fun.
can
No,
do it.
I understand.
it's fun to watch that cork go under.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't care. I mean, I'd rather throw a grub in a cork. But I'd rather watch that cork go under because I don't have to fool with as many shorts.
Yeah, I can honestly say one of the most exciting things that that I do miss about down there is fishing with sardines for snook and just feeling that sardine and watching that sardine go nuts
Oh,
before
yeah.
he gets crushed. And watching that, you can just see that snook just fly. You can watch them, and that sardine will take off like a bat out of hell, and that snook will just light up and
You'll
just.
say that's what I want to do.
Oh man, yep. Yeah.
Run, fool,
And it's the
run.
same way, when people fish artificials, I don't know how many times I see it on the boat. I'm sure you guys have too. They'll throw out there and a redfish will start following. What's the first thing they do? They quit moving it.
Yep.
And that redfish goes
So I made sure I told the guys today because they're bass fishermen,
real faster.
and he's working top water. He said, and he asked me. He said, when I see a fish coming up to it or strike it and they miss, do I pause? I said no. I said
Make it run.
yes. I said if you pause, now you can get away with it on trout.
Yeah.
You can pause on a trout and they'll hit
They
it.
might, yeah.
But you
Usually
will
they won't
not.
until it starts
You
moving.
will not get away with it on a redfish.
He'll turn off at every single time.
Unless you're in the middle of a school and a bunch of them are fired up and one of them
Another
just.
one hits it.
But 99% of the time it's going to turn. You're not going to see that fish again.
I always tell them, I said, if you got a bear swiping at you, are you going to slow up and pause if he misses you? He'll run faster.
Well, yeah, but big trout now will hit the fall.
Well, that's why I
They
said
will.
trout will.
Yeah.
It is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's literally the opposite way to fish it. Yeah.
But a lot of times, if you're working it, he comes up and explodes on it and misses it. If you let it sit there, he won't hit. He'll. I've watched them. They'll lay right under it
And as soon as you
until
move
it wiggles just a little bit, and then he whack.
Yep.
And then he
Right.
smokes it. But
But-
they will. If it's sitting there, I have seen trout
reds-
come up.
reds,
Yeah.
most of the time,
Reds and snook and
unless they're just in a school fired up, like I
Yeah.
said.
yeah,
But then
you
they're
got to
gonna
make
hit
it look like it's scared and running. The fast and sometimes the faster the better.
Well, now the other thing is y'all talking about pretty shallow water.
Yeah.
And so he's getting a great look at it,
Right.
and he goes, "Oh, that isn't what I thought that was," and it isn't that he can think like that like we do, but he knows it's wrong.
Well,
He doesn't know it's wrong until he gets a hard stop, look.
Hmm.
And as long as it's moving, he's not getting an image of it like a snapshot, and that's why he turns off of it.
Yeah.
Because then he goes, "Oh, I thought that was a mudman, or I thought that was a crab."
So Michael
Actually, they think they're crabs more than anything.
Lehman asked me if I'd catch any on arrowheads. I wish I would have remembered my arrowheads today because the unfair arrowhead this time of year,
Hmm.
they work.
Yeah.
They don't have much action to them, but they work. Yeah. I like the green. And
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever thrown them.
really,
I don't think I ever have.
So Travis Andrews, my buddy from Newport Richie, he come up fishing with me, and I had the green, and he throws out. This thing has no action. Why do you even throw this? This thing's terrible. No action. And then just wham, trout, wham, trout, wham, trout. He's like, I don't know why they're eating it, but we're gonna throw it.
I'll throw it now. Don't have to beat me on the head with it.
And then I think it was the next day we were in, or they went to Hungry Howie's when it was open at St. Hatchie. And got this little glow in the dark skeleton from the little vending machine.
Yeah.
Oh, you told me this before. Go ahead.
So we put the skeleton on the hook. Trout, trout, trout.
Glow in the dark, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was a glow toy, child's quarter toy from a damn, turn the handle and get the thing to fall out the bottom.
And you know they were hungry eating everything, huh?
Yeah, well,
Well, Chad always do that glow and white and everything like that. That's funny though.
Kenny,
Yeah.
Kenny,
Just
I
tab
remember
hook on it.
I remember him telling this. He said he let off with, "You don't believe this, but," he said, "You're gonna think I'm lying, but I caught him on a damn skeleton we got at Hungry Howard." I said, "A skeleton? What the hell is wrong with you? What are you talking about?"
Remember that, Brady?
He didn't say it came out of the Bogon machine first. You know, he said
That's
a
what he said. Why were
skeleton.
you even using
A
that?
skeleton. I accused him of being high, but yeah, for the choice, for the idea of it. Yeah. Well, I call certain lakes cigarette butt lakes because you can take the filter
Mhm.
off. I used to smoke and throw it, and I have done that in lakes. Just broken off my filter, stuck a hook on there, and thrown it out there and caught bass with it. And that's why I call them cigarette butt lakes. But that's
Louisiana and
why
saltwater.
that's why you get a client from South Georgia and he thinks that he already knows how to fish. I call it the rattle trap beetle spin curse.
Mhm.
Those are only two lures other than a plastic worm that he's ever thrown, and they hit him.
I haven't used a rattle trap in years, but I used to use them a lot, and especially in Gulf harbors. I would use.
Yeah, we used to troll with them up the Cody and up the Anklote.
Yeah.
Get way up there. We used to troll with them in the wintertime, but
Smoke,
just the big magnums.
smoke fishing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
The
Everybody-
big one about as big as that phone.
yeah, those the ones. Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
once
I've
you
never
did,
seen anybody catch anything on
well, and to make them work correctly, what you did is you took the hook on the back, which was about a 4/0 treble hook,
it was a
and
big one,
you turned it into an 8/0 treble hook.
even bigger.
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't catch it.
Oh, you caught them.
No, I meant Pat didn't
Oh, I
catch
got
that.
you, yeah.
It was a snatch hook.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got it.
they were force fed most of the time. But yeah, you get them. They would eat them though. You would get some where you had them. I mean, they had them stuffed down their throat. But yeah, you tended to foul hook a few. But they
Sean
were-
Thompson said good numbers of reds last weekend, and Cedar Key trout were on the flats as well.
yeah, I think we're just at that time of year. I mean, it's March. I mean,
Yeah, March is. A lot of people ask me, "What's your favorite month?" And
I've got
Mine-
4 of them.
yeah, March is one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, March is the new April.
Yes.
Because
It used to be April.
It
Yeah.
used to be April. I
Yeah.
tell people, say, when's the best time to go? I said, the new moon in April.
Hmm.
I said, the new moon in April is a guarantee. Now it's liable to be 89 degrees
Yeah.
into April. I mean, you just don't know. But yeah, March is the new April because we used to have a closed season on reds and everybody just fished for reds the first 2 weeks of March. And what trout you caught, you caught. But you were wanting to catch reds because it had been closed for
Hmm.
what, 2 months? I've forgotten now.
Well,
Getting old.
not only is March the new April, but we used to say red October.
Yeah,
Well, now you start seeing reds the end of October.
Yeah, it's
you start
usually
catching some
November.
decent ones, but now it's November.
yeah. So it's November now.
And November used to be prime trout. Now it's December.
And even with the airboat stuff, I've been running the airboats for close to 20 years between Charlotte Harbor and now up here. And February was always a slam dunk. It was always a really good month because it was always cold. Now, February you're never sure.
Now it's January.
Yeah, January. Yeah, late December, January. are
Well,
the-
you
are the
live
two.
200 miles north. Than
But
what
even
we
here.
used to.
Yeah,
even here.
but I
it's
mean,
the
down
same.
there, it was always February was always a good month. It was still cold down in Charlotte Harbor, but even when I was there, 8-9 years ago, I could see the trend. I'd go out in the morning. We'd be running. We always ran to Anklote in the wintertime to catch the trout out in the troughs, and I'd start seeing bait in the river at the end of January. I'm like, I didn't catch it until usually about the first week of February, but it was, you could get that right bite and you get a couple warm days and those snook would eat it.
Yeah.
And that was a huge transition because I never caught bait down there until into March, easily into March. We never had it.
You never see, when I was throwing a cast net for filters, it was it started off, it was May, and then it was late May, then it was early June, then it was July. And now they just don't come. You go out there and put your shrimp farina in the shrimp starter and all that in the water till you're blue in the face, and you just won't get them. It doesn't happen anymore.
No, most of them now, when I see them, they're in 12 feet of water.
Yeah.
And they're this big. They're not. They're
Yeah.
not these little.
I saw someone scalloping
Little
last year
filter.
out here. There was when we were cleaning scallops. There was a school of them came up behind the boat in the when we were cleaning them.
So, talking about that last time we went down to, we rented a house in Gulf Harbors for a family vacation. And it was one of my Carolina skiffs, and it had a 2-stroke 90 Yamaha on it. And we were right there in the flats in Anclote.
Mhm.
I was going to run to Fred Howard, net some bait. Then I seen a bunch of bait right there at Anclote.
Yeah.
So I get up on the bow and I tell Brandy, hey, just go to the school. Let's go to the school, and I'm
Take it
gonna
out of gear.
take it out of gear and I'll throw the net. You know what
I
happened?
already know where this is
She
going.
put you on your ass.
I was up there on the bow. She does perfect. Gets me right to the school. I throw the net and she goes put it in neutral. Whomp, in reverse.
And you went in the water.
Very close.
Oh.
Very close. It was that bad.
So I learned as pressure got higher down there, I started having my clients meet me in the morning. So as soon as we caught bait, we'd start fishing, kind of get a jump on everybody else, at least one spot. And I'll never forget when Yamaha, finally switched over to all the fly-by-wire stuff. And the first time, I thought the guy was going to kill me because, again, it was, ease me up there and everything like that. And he's easing up, and I'm like, just a little more, give it a little more. And of course, he dumped me right down the bottom of the boat. And I think everybody's got those stories.
Oh yeah. But that was I think that was the last time I threw a cast net. I had shoulder surgery. I struggled with it.
I don't miss it. I threw when we were tarpon fishing up here over there off Alligator Point a couple times last summer. I threw over there on those L-wives and all that, and I didn't miss it.
I used to be able to throw a 12-foot net like it was nothing. We would go wade out by the power plant in Anclote and cast net mullet.
Oh yeah,
a bunch. And of course you had to throw a bait net.
oh, yeah.
We'd
You
round Green. I'd get them around Green Key and Howard Park and all that. But I would always throw a 12-foot, 10, 12-foot.
Yeah.
And then my shoulder started getting bad. I went down to a 7-foot.
Mhm.
After my shoulder surgery, I can barely throw a 7.
Yeah, I don't even, like I said, I don't miss it at all. I can still throw them, but I don't miss them. I'll never throw another one. I'll be happy.
I make a cast you wouldn't believe. I do everything backwards, and it's all I can do. I can't throw it conventional. Cannot do it. Shoulder gone.
Yeah, I can't throw it how I used to. I had to modify it.
But
But
the good thing is up here we don't have to.
Yeah, I don't miss it. I don't miss it.
Yeah, I honestly, if I get kids on the boat, I'll pick some shrimp up and maybe some cut pinfish that we use. But the fishing in this, from Cedar Key, Steenhatchee, all the way up, all the way around to St. Mark's. You can almost teach anybody, especially this time of year when you can throw spoons, when you can throw mirrodines and stuff like that. You can almost get anybody to catch a redfish on an artificial or a trout. You might not kill them, you might not catch 100 of them, but you can make it happen for them. There's a lot of people that can get converted over to realizing that, these fish, I think on a good bite, just like you had today, if you'd have been throwing shrimp, you wouldn't have caught as many fish.
no.
Because you can't make enough casts to make up for what you did.
Yeah, and that's why I told everyone up front this week, look, we need to throw artificial.
Mhm.
And even a couple of days ago, I had to kill them, but we caught some nice fish. We were pinned down, throwing shrimp.
Yeah.
But we didn't catch the numbers.
No.
And I told them up front, I said, hey, I'm just going to let you know, we're not going to catch the amount of fish you did when you were here last time because we're doing something different.
Right.
Will we catch fish? Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, it just depends what you want to do. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You know, a lot of people, you know, Pat uses pinfish majority of the time through the, you know, from now on. You know, you use a lot of pinfish.
No, not now. I mean,
Well,
Another month.
when it warms up a little bit.
it'll be, you know, and it's not, you think it's a choice I make. I have the bait on the boat. And a lot of trips, I have 3 people and I'll put the person in the middle and he'll outfish the corners. But
Mhm.
if they have fished with me before, they don't want to do the work of fishing the grub and court.
Right.
And the grub and court, a lot of times catches the biggest fish and can also catch, you always catches more fish.
Mhm.
Right.
But you're going to catch more shorts mixed in. And sometimes they just don't want to do it. It's less work with me. If they were all thrown artificial, it would actually be more work
Yeah.
because of the number of fish
Fish you're
that I would be
hooking.
taking off.
Mhm.
And, but no, I can fish artificial with the best of them and I can teach it, but most people don't want to learn it.
Right.
I mean,
You want the
you
easy
don't
button.
take a customer the first time out and have a great day with artificial on open flats in June, July, and August.
Gulp under a popping cork.
Well, I have.
But it's the same concept as,
Yeah.
as bait, you know, at that point.
Yeah. It's not much different.
But what's going on now, I call it the mirror ball effect. That's all gulp was designed for is pinfish. It doesn't attract anything else.
Right.
And the pinfish mirror balling around it, like a disco, you know,
Mhm.
mirror ball. I don't know if
Attract
y'all-
the big fish.
You're old enough to know. Kenny may not.
Oh, yeah, I do. I went to the skating rinks.
No, I wasn't in the skating rink.
I know. I was just saying they had them in the skating
I was
rink.
in a bar with a mirror ball.
Well, I've been
never in
to-
a
I've been there.
skating rink. But anyway, the pinfish, the bait and switch is what's going on now with anything you throw because the pinfish come out of that grass hungry and they're swinging at everything. I mean, it's unbelievable. And if you want that to work, you better throw something with red glitter in it, whether it's watermelon red or because that's basically what the backside of Houdini is watermelon green with red, black, and silver glitter in it. And the red glitters everything. I'm surprised you didn't throw your watermelon slice.
I didn't throw any 5-inch yet. It's coming.
That's right.
It's coming.
Well,
With the
But
transition, I wanted to cover water. So
they make their watermelon red,
He was scouting for redfish.
which
too,
I
so.
had. Well, when he came
was
by
co-
me,
he was
he said he
covered.
needed 1 trout and he was going looking for 2 redfish. Had you not caught 2 more redfish then and did later? Or
we had already caught a pile of redfish keepers.
Oh,
that
you
we,
just
that we
said it
threw
was a
back.
phrase, a couple more redfish.
No, we didn't keep any of the ones earlier. We caught keepers. We just didn't keep them. And so we needed 1 more trout and wanted to get a couple of 23, 24-inch reds. And it was trout. And that's when I switched. So we got to find something.
Mhm.
When you're reeling a trout in and there's 4 or 5 redfish with it,
Yeah. They're not eating it.
like
The
literally
trout are much quicker.
literally the reds following the trout in. I'm like, all right, they're here. We got to find something to get.
Slow the trout down.
Yeah.
You
Well-
need to write that down and remember it.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen a whole lot.
Well, it's just like here soon when we start having the big schools of bait come in, you know, you start catching trout off in the schools of bait and you want redfish, you better get something that's going to get down under it
Yeah.
quicker.
Still get all the scraps.
All right, load them up for this weekend. Tell them and describe what you.
Well, your best bets this weekend
Yeah.
is to go to the Osceola River and look for
A blue airboat.
a blue airboat. Osceola Outlaw Charters and follow him around because he said earlier he's been on the fish.
He's been on them.
So that's your best bet. And if that's not an option for you, you know, really cover some water.
Yeah, typically when I start in the morning, I'll literally run until I start seeing, just like you probably did, seeing good numbers of mullet.
Well, they were literally everywhere.
Yeah.
But
And then I'll just put them on, find a point or a bar or something like that and just start there and see where we go.
yeah, I do want to touch on voter etiquette. We're getting into that time of year. Just like today, fishing spot. Guy comes in, and I thought he was going into a creek.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm working the shoreline with the trolling motor. We weren't catching anything. We were just trying to find some reds and just working along. I'm getting right up to where I know some reds typically stage.
Mm.
And I see this boat coming. I said, well, he's going to go in the creek. No. He goes 50 yards in front of us, runs over an oyster bar rocks with his prop, power pulls down right in front of us, and throws out a shrimp under a cord. What do we see? About 30 reds.
Scooting back past you. Yeah.
But it's that time of year. Just respect people. If you see someone working, especially with a trolling motor, they're working shore, give them some room.
Yeah. Or just go behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're working down, let
Well,
them go
some
where
people
they're
think,
going.
oh, well, there's not going to be fish there because they just work through. Well, prime example today, we went around that guy, and there was another boat in front of us working the grass line on the trolling motor. They went into the creek. We went in right behind, caught fish. They didn't catch anything, but we caught fish right behind them because we were throwing what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It isn't who you are or where you are, it's what you're doing when you get there.
Yeah.
Well, the tip, though, and the encouragement is the 50-50 rule. If you are coming up on a point, he fishes points. He said it 10 times today. If you're coming up on a point, use the 50-50 rule. Stop at 50 yards off of where you think you catch your fish. And when you get to the 50-foot mark, you're too close. Turn around. If you haven't caught them, you're wasting your time. If you're a half a cast and you've already gotten toward that material, those reds are not there. You would have already caught them. But if you don't stop out there at 150 to 200 feet away, then what Kenny says, he pulls up and the guy blew the fish off because those fish were happy. You don't catch that many reds 20, 30, 40 feet off the bank. It's 50 feet off, generally because the washout's on the corner is facing the southwest pressure, evening, afternoon wash. And those fish lay down in that washout. And if you don't know what a washout is, go buy some golf clubs. But they lay off in that, and it has nothing to do with that grass behind you. You're not in South Carolina, throwing up there in the grass, or Georgia coast, Atlantic side. I mean, it's just not what we do. And the bigger reds, you may catch a red inside of 50 feet, but he'll be this long. The one you want is out there under your boat. The other thing is, if you see an oyster bar out there, you never catch a fish on the light bar itself. You catch your fish because there's a pinch in the current. If you have a high spot, it pinches the current. The current rushes up and rushes off of that high spot and uncovers the rock that is everywhere on this coast. And those larger rocks that are in that color change around that bar, that's your target. Yeah. And if you drive up there, like Kenny says, and you don't honor that 150 feet off that bar, you're actually 100 feet off the target. It's not the yellow bar. And throwing a gold redfin up on top of the yellow bar never caught you a fish. You catch him accidentally if you don't know. The reason that we catch fish around the bars is the rocks that are exposed around them. That also catches a great deal of lower units because they're trying to get to the yellow bar.
So the bulk of my fish today never came off an oyster bar.
Right.
Never came off the rocks.
They're in the grass.
They're in the grass. Even
that's
the
because
redfish
the
are in the
Finfish are in
grass.
the grass.
That's
Right.
because the food is there.
Now,
folks.
I talked about fish. I went up around some creeks and some points. Well, why did I do that? Because we were getting into a slack tide, and I knew there would be some water
Yeah, it gets
movement.
forced down.
You know,
That would be the earliest water movement is the edge.
Yeah.
Because Jack and Jill went up the hill and fetched the fell water. Jack fell down, spilled the water. Which way did it go? Down the hill.
Yeah.
So the first water to move is the shallowest point that you can fish. And that will be your first part of your bite on the outgoing.
yeah. And just like early this morning, I started the very tail end of the outgoing tide. So what do? I go and I find some bars, and
hmm
I wasn't catching them on the bars, but I was fishing the pinch points that flowed out into
Yeah.
a flat
Creates some
around the bars that created some water movement.
Right.
So there's a tip for you.
Yeah.
Most of the fish on the low tide, I was catching in 1.5 feet of water.
Yeah. And
On the
what
high
Pat,
tide, I was catching them in 3 feet of water.
and what Pat said is,
2.5
is so true. I mean, we do it for two reasons. What the one Pat explained, and what I always call the warm up area.
Yeah.
Because by the time if I set down where I know we can reach those fish, my people are going to make 3 or 4 bad casts. They're going to slap the water. One of them's going to forget to open the bail. So if I'm back that 150 yards, they're not blowing everything out. They've made a couple casts now. They're warmed up, and we go in. And I do
That's
it
called
religiously.
setup. That's called setup.
Yeah. I mean, I will literally put the poles down and stop and let them make 2 or 3
Oh, yeah.
casts, and then I will start easing in.
On an offshore boat out of Destin, my captain used to call this Girl Scout time. He would find out who can't fish, and he would pull up on a number that there were no grouper on. There might be an amberjack, but he knew there were no grouper there, so you could not mess up the good fish and stop and see who could and couldn't fish, and let them pull an amberjack, and then go to the grouper and put those people 5th and 6th. There'd be 6 of us on the boat. They would be the 5th and 6th drop line as it was dropped. So he would get some fish in the boat
Before they get
before
messed
they
up.
messed them up. Because if you wrecked a fish, that would mess up that spot.
Yep.
And this is in 200 something feet of water. When I caught that world record, he did the same thing that day. And Junior Parenza was the one he was suspecting to be a Girl Scout. And Junior, Daddy was a commercial grouper fisherman.
Well,
You know, he didn't know him, so he didn't trust him. He
yeah.
put Junior and Benji Tootin, I think, at first. I don't think, no, I take that back. Benji wasn't on that record fish, but Junior was on one side of me and Reagan Fox on the other. Anyway, the point is, I do setup, and I take the sorriest looking bait that's in the line
Yep.
well, and I give it. I say, when I catch a fish on this, I know it. But we don't waste, we don't waste any time, bait or money on the setup time.
That saying right there brings back so many memories of when you throw the cast net 50 times in a morning to get 20 baits,
Yes.
Right.
and you pull in there and you tell everybody, this is all the bait we have. Do you want me to cast, or are you? I'm good. And the first cast, you watch that
Yeah.
sardine go,
Yeah.
and you're like, we got 19 of them now.
Right.
But that's all part of it, and we learn how to deal with it. And like I said,
Well,
some are better than others. That's why we always like when we get the people that surprise us and turn out to be really good
unfortunately, the people that we need to hear this are not online
fishermen.
right now. They're watching.
And if they are, they're not talking about me.
They're watching Survivor on TV. Well, the other thing though is people will take and throw gull on a cork, expecting to match the production that we as guides are producing with artificials that we've spent a week or two refining and finding out exactly what's gonna work. And we're on the fish because we've put that time in. And if you pay attention and notice that the guy hasn't got any corks on his boat, then you might not need none on your boat. But
Open your eyes.
but you've got to be a little bit, I was gonna say, you got to be a little more observant than the average person.
Yep.
But the other thing is they are convinced that that live shrimp is the best way to go, and tell them you caught 100 and something fish Tuesday with, so what was it, 9 keepers, trout and 2 reds, and you couldn't get a bite on a shrimp.
Yep.
I mean, couldn't get a bite.
Yeah.
Now today, if you had, I left my shrimp that I had left over. I left them in the holding pen, but the pinfish would have eaten them like piranha. The way they did today. So now you went from yes, they might work to you
Not a
can't
chance.
buy enough shrimp
Yeah.
No.
of what was going on. And if
They'll
it
never
stays
sniff 'em.
warm the rest of this week to next week, it will be on.
Yep.
You can throw anything but put the cork up. You throw the cork, but you got to have the right thing, very light right thing. Most people do wrong is they got a 1/4 ounce jig under a cork
Mhm.
instead of a 1/16. If they would go,
I won't even have that right now.
I know I was throwing unweighted, but I'm
Just a
saying
just a regular.
I could throw Bert Diener's 1/16 because it's a true 1/16. But most of the 1/16 that you see in the store, whether it's Z-Man or whatever, Calcutta or what's the one in Walmart?
Oh,
Or
tsunami.
a gotcha or tsunami or whatever. They weigh 1/8 of an ounce or better, and their quarter probably weighs another 1/8 more than that. It weighs 5/8 or better.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's moving too fast. You match the drop time and count it down. You know exactly when to twitch it, and you can light them up every.
Now I'll tell you what I like,
Okay.
and I won't do it right now, but here soon, the little PNV on a regular J hook,
Mhm.
unweighted, under a quart. You're gonna catch it.
Yeah, you did in the fall. You did really well with that bait.
But they'd eaten that today.
Oh, they would have ate it today.
They would eat it today, but you had people you didn't need a cork.
No, I was doing something specific today.
Yeah.
So, but get out on the water.
Yeah, the weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now's the time to go.
March is typically windy.
Yeah.
But wind is a good thing.
Yeah, just watch the direction.
Right.
I mean, this time of year, I mean, if it's blowing southwest, it can blow 40 miles an hour, and I don't care if fish are going to bite.
Yeah.
They're just going to eat. But you
The rougher it is, the bigger the trout.
yeah. You start getting north winds a little bit, they're still going to eat. It
Yes.
makes it harder to fish because of the way you set up on things.
Like yesterday's conditions for big trout. Ooh, you know how bad I wanted to be out there yesterday. That thick fog.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But all right, so I think we answered all the questions. Let me make sure. Yeah, we got all the questions. So I know I have some availability coming up, but we are booking pretty quickly. I mean, the phone and email has been pretty steady. How can I get a hold of you, Greg?
Right behind us.
Yep.
Call that
Same
number.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll get to all of us, and I know
Yeah.
Pat's got his own number and everything he can give out.
That's onemmorecast.net, or you can call me at 850-838-1751.
All right. Y'all have anything else to add before we sign off?
I'm good.
No.
We're going to try to be more regular. It's been a little hectic.
Yeah. If the fishing stays as good, we might be able to do them once a week.
All right. Well, we'll see you.